Big voice, dude.
Testing.
There you go.
Hear me now? As I was saying, then the mic pooped out. I was a young man, then I brought my wife Kate and my little Clara Elizabeth to Washington County. You know, it was 1866, and I had $11,000 in gold. Yeah, that was a lot of money in those days. But, you know, I also had a brand new Surrey job with the Freedom Shows at the time. And two of the most beautiful horses you ever saw, to put it. Well, I guess I couldn't get the vine-making family out of my blood because pretty soon I bought 13 acres on the south side of the mountain west of Fayetteville. You know, and then we built a road, and we dug a well, and then we blasted out a wine cellar. I started a winery. It's the first one, I think, in Arkansas. Yeah. Pretty soon we were making all kinds of stuff. Yeah. We made native grape vine. We made huckleberry vine. Yeah. And we made even champagne cider and peach and apple brandy. No schnapps, nice. But it was a nice place, you know. Looky there, there's that old bell. I remember I hired a bell digger from Farmington. I paid him $100, almost half a year's wages, to dig that bell, you know. And as that rascal pulled out his peach tree witch and switch, and pretty soon he goes down 6 feet, and in less than 2 days, he had the sweetest stream of water you ever tasted. But that rascal walked off with my $100 in his pocket and a big grin on his face. I guess I got outfoxed on that one, but maybe it's not so bad because people still using that bell 100 years later and more. Well, those crazy fools are going to kill themselves. Why would you ride a contraption like that when you can ride a perfectly good stubborn horse? What are you fellows up to?
Who's asking?
I'm Philippe Kessler, and you're on my mountain.
Mr. Kessler, what a pleasure to meet you. Chuck Maxwell, president of the Ozark Off-Road Cyclists, non-profit organization that's built and maintained all these beautiful trails on the mountain. I hope that's all right with you, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's given our community a great opportunity to get out, venture onto the mountain, and experience this beautiful gem that is Mount Kessler. We're so stoked that it's going to continue to be preserved for future outdoor enthusiasts. Yeah! This is Louis.
I'm Louis Lewis, Ozark Off-Road Cyclist Vice President. I also ride the trails at Slaughterton in Bentonville, Arkansas. These Mount Kessler trails are a great bookend to Northwest Arkansas. And one time, we spent a lot of time in the woods at Mount Kessler building trail, and one time we thought they were all lost. Cycling is the new goal.
Is that so?
Yes.
And Mr. Kessler, my name is Steve Schneider. I'm the regional director for an organization called International Mountain Bike Association.
Yeah, Schneider, that's a good family name.
Good German name, yes sir. We have a network of associates all over the world and all over the country, and they come here to Mount Kessler and they ride your trails. And when they come here, they leave their money in the city and they take chiggers and ticks back with them.
You know. Nice to meet you, fellows. Nice to meet you. Bye-bye. You know, I've always heard there's more money in tourists than in cotton. And they're a heck of a lot easier to pick. Well, I see people like racing through these woods the same as I did.
Okay, kids, what kind of bird is that? Good, and what kind of tree is he sitting in?
That's our hickory!
My golly, what kind of a monstrous bird was that?
Sir, I believe that's a plane.
Huh? You learn something new every day.
It's a great outdoor classroom.
I'm Doug James. Hey! John, I remember you.
You used to live on the north end of our mountain.
Yes, I remember you, and it's been an age since I've seen you.
Perhaps these kids don't know that in 1926, the Ecological Society of America published a huge tome that was called A Naturalist's Guide to the Americas. It covered all the states in the Union. It covered many countries in the Western Hemisphere besides the US of A. And it was mainly an ecological approach, describing the ecology of each entity. Also, they designated special features in each entity that should be preserved into perpetuity. And the only feature in northwest Arkansas was Kessler Mountain. And it was noteworthy because of the northern biota, northern flora it had, including the extensive sugar maple trees. And when the south end of the mountain is close to 2,000 feet elevation. And those of us who wander around the Ozarks recognize that 2,000 feet is the dividing line between the northern and southern biota.
Wow, Dr. James!
They didn't know I was going to add something on. What I was going to say, that where I lived on the south end, some years, the birds that nested around my house were northern birds. In other years, the birds that nested around my house were southern birds. So it showed up very nicely.
You know, I actually traveled to Mount Kessler on a high school field trip with my environmental science class. It was truly incredible. I learned so much more being in the actual environment compared to in the classroom. I guess it just makes it the ideal outdoor classroom. And the pizza was great, too.
Well, I'll be hornswoggled. That's good. My mountain is a classroom. Wunderbar! You know, in these parts, we place a great store on education. That's why we have the Cane Hill College and the Fayetteville Women's College. But you never heard of those. Oh, they were fine institutions in my day.
Make sure you line it up to hit test. And don't forget to measure the diameter. There you go. Be careful extracting the core. And don't drop it like you did last time.
Look at there. Those old post oaks and chinkapin trees are still there after all the... Young man, what are you doing? You can't get maple syrup out of an oak tree.
I good sir, am Dr. T. Dan Tick. That's tick as in facial muscle spasms, not as in blood-sucking insect spasms. I am chair of the Department of Dendrology at the University of Arkansas. And this is my graduate student, Alan Edmondson. He's writing his thesis on the ancient trees of Mount Kessler.
Yeah.
Sir, do you know that these trees are older than the United States of America? For me, the high point of Kessler Mountain are these magnificent specimens of Quercus muhlenbergii, some of the finest I've ever seen.
Corky, what? You mean over this old chinkapin oak tree here?
Well, yes, of course. The scientific name of the chinkapin oak honors Gottfried Heinrich Ernst Muhlenberg, 1753 to 1815. He was a Lutheran minister and an amateur botanist. Sadly, the man who actually assigned the name to Quercus muhlenbergii, Georg Engelmann, a German-American botanist, thought that there was a umlaut in the U of Muhlenberg. And so he transcribed it M-U-E, mu instead of mu. And about the umlaut.
Yeah. There is one of my favorite places on the crest of this mountain. Those beautiful places. They are wonderful.
To the west.
You don't? And I look at that, I think of the fact that if you spit to the west, you irrigate the Illinois River. And then if you spit to the east, you irrigate the white. Let's try that.
Hi there, I'm John, Director of the Beaver Watershed Alliance. We work to protect the Beaver Lake, which provides drinking water for 500,000 Arkansans. And your wooded land will help preserve this drinking water source for future generations by helping to reduce water treatment costs.
Butter needs treatment. Are you a doctor? Does water get sick?
Water can get sick, but this mountain, and we're putting into preservation now, can be the best cost-effective way to protect the Illinois River watershed and the White River Beaver Lake watershed for generations to come. So we want to thank you, Mr. Kessler, and the City of Fayetteville, and the Natural Heritage Commission, and the Walton Family Foundation for preserving this mountain, Mount Kessler. Thank you.
Amazing. I look down in the valley and I see all those houses and those roads. And then I look at this mountain and it's still the same after over 100 years. But you got to wonder, how long can this last?
Hey, Mr. Kessler. My name is John Coleman, Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association. And I promise, if you come back in 100 years, you'll see that this property will still have all of its wooden bluffs.
Vice Chairman of the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association and Executive Director of the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust. The Land Trust is working with the City of Fayetteville to place a perpetual contradiction easement on 387 acres on the mountain. That means that it will be protected for future generations forever.
We're not done yet. So in March of 2014, the Walton Family Foundation gave a $1.5 million grant to the City of Fayetteville, a matching grant. The city then matched through the leadership of Mayor Jordan and the City Council. And at that time, FNHA pledged $300,000 as well to show community support. And that money is going to go towards the conservation easement that Terry just mentioned, an ecological study that's going to help inform the city's master plan that's coming up in a few months. We're going to have some additional signage out there as well as a startup pavilion and then help pay down some of the costs from the city. But we need your help. This is the kickoff. This gala is the kickoff for our fundraiser, and we need your help.
But I have a little bit left.
All right. Thank you, sir.
The rest is up to you folks today.
I appreciate that.
Well, I guess I better be getting back. You know, I'm buried on the south end of the mountain at the Reed Chapel Cemetery. Yeah. And I can't be gone too long. Yeah. But remember, I'll be watching you. Yeah, yeah.
Special thanks to the playwright, Frank Sharp.
All right, so the horse don't show. So next part of the show, we're going to have Frank Sharp come up and introduce a special group of young women that were out on the mountain a few short years ago.
Good evening. My name is Alan Edmondson. I'm a master's student at the University of Arkansas in the Geosciences Department. My advisor, Dr. David Staley, is the director of the University of Arkansas Tree-Ring Laboratory. They went on a hike, Dr. Staley, Joe Neal, and Frank Sharp, up to Mount Kessler, up Rock City Trail, up Trent Trail. I guess it was almost 2 years ago. And Dr. Staley got so excited and so intrigued by the old growth he was seeing up there that he came back the next day into the laboratory and said, I have the perfect master's thesis research project for you. 20 minutes later, we were bushwhacking up the side of Mount Kessler, searching for old growth trees. And that was the start of my master's thesis research. Since then, we have found trees that are over 200 years, like this chieftain oak tree that was taken from a downed tree that was across the trail, and there's a post oak site on the mountain where trees are reaching over 300 years old. This is a really exciting site for us, and we are happy to see the community working together to preserve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alan. This tree right here is, what, 200 years old? Okay. Well, I'd like to have the women out walking to come up right now to be recognized. Come on. Okay, in April 2010, Judy called me and said that a group of them walked various areas, and they had heard about the trails that were being built on Mount Kessler. They wanted to know if they could come hike. I said, well, certainly. And they said, we'll be there about 9 o'clock and hike 2 or 3 hours. And I said, well, what about having something to eat after the hike? And they said, well, we've never done that before. So Sarah and I cleaned out the garage, and I fixed a big salad, and shrimp. Yeah. And Sarah made a cabbage soup, and we had Mike Lamaster. Where's Mike? Mike. Mike. Okay, Mike helped clear those trails after the ice storm 2009, and he hiked. And Patty Irwin was there. She's the state urban forester, but she gets urban forestry. And Carrie Lane and her mother, and Bob Cox. And they said, "Are you for this meal?" And I said, no, this is a party.
Your beard is
okay, I'll shave it. That's it.
Better.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't better. Right. And anyway, they said, no, we want to pay. I said, no, it's a party. And so this group sent a check for $300 to Fayetteville Natural Heritage, which started the Mount Kessler Fund, which has grown from $300 to $3,300,000. Alan, you just hold up. This plaque is from the 200-year-old Kingston oak tree, and the plaque says, the first Philip Kessler Award, April 19, 2015, to the women out walking. Susan Berghardt, Ruann Ewing, Judy Geisel, Linda Hancock, Sherry Harris, Debbie Havner, Becky McCoy, Deb Short, Yvonne Springfield, Susan Von Grimp, and Lynn Walton, who in March 2010 hiked on Mount Kessler and made the initial contribution to the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association's Mount Kessler Fund. This fund, 5 years later, led to the City of Fayetteville's purchase and protection in perpetuity of the Mount Kessler Reserve. So, Judy, you are the official one to receive the award.
Can you hear me? Is this working? Anyway, you're probably curious about what we're about, Women Out Walking. And in 2005, there were 11 friends who were interested in nature and fitness, and we started getting together once a month and hiking through the beautiful Ozarks. A lot of our hikes are down in the Ponca area and Buffalo River area. So we were thrilled when we called Frank, and we were looking for a close hike, and he invited us to hike Mount Kessler. And about 2 years ago, he invited us back, and we hiked the second time after when we had a pizza party that time. So we are very grateful for this award, and have enjoyed many hikes.
Thank you. John, Terry, who's next here?
All right, so we're starting to wind down a little bit. Terry Lane is going to come up and give some closing remarks, and then we're going to leave the auction items open for just a little bit longer, and then we'll announce in about 20 minutes who won the raffle items, and then we'll be finished up with Terry. Terry's our vice chair, and in my opening comments, I mentioned, for those of you that weren't able to hear, Terry really kind of took the reins on this project as far as organizing the event, and with the FNHA board and all the volunteers and making sure that we were doing what we're supposed to be doing, so we really appreciate her efforts.
Okay, hopefully this mic is working. We've had storms and a horse that didn't cooperate, and microphones that don't work either. Is that better? I don't know. It's working good. Okay, it sounded buzzy again. But thank you very much for being here, for braving the storm and coming out. I grew up on Kessler, just so happened, and I serve on the board of directors of the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Association, and it's a real honor. Our founding board members, most of whom are here tonight and still serve on the board, started a legacy that I'm really proud to be a part of. And in my day job, I work for the Northwest Arkansas Land Trust, and we are putting a conservation easement on the property so that it's protected forever. And in both capacities, it's a real gift for me to take part in preserving this mountain that I have known since I was 5 years old. Lots of people were part of that and are here tonight, and too many to thank, but it really does take a village. There's one man in particular that we need to single out. I would say he's the patriarch of Kessler, a role model for community, inclusive advocacy, and he's the best pizza maker in town. And he coined the phrase, "As we grow, let's keep some country." And so can we give a big round of applause for Mr. Frank Sharp? Since I was 6 years old, living on Kessler, and we used to speculate about when town might find us.